We're looking at here is the Edge DX dashboard. This gives us an overview of the devices. Um, Looks like we have about 25 devices here. So we have a lot of Windows devices, a few Linux devices, and some Mac OS devices. They're spread all over the US here. Looks like they all kind of came online here just recently. This is for the year, so January 1st through October 24th. And we set this environment up in August, so that's why we're seeing that. I had a few alerts in the last hour and 46 over the past 24 hours. This is a great entry point for the help desk people to kind of get an overview of their devices and see if anything needs to be looked at. We can also see the active applications. But what we want to key in on this session is the unified communication, and in particular the Teams. So let's go ahead and click into the Teams dashboard. Since August, we've had 49 different calls, 4.3 thousand minutes of calls on it. The score over time is 9.1, which is fairly good from 0 to 10. We did have a few of those fail. 7 of them failed, so 42% of them were successful. Looks like a lot of the failures happened early on when we first set up the environment. Then down below, we have sortable columns. Let's go ahead and sort them by time. These are the first column, or the first calls we did, and these are the last calls that we have done. You can see some of the icons are in red, and that just indicates that they had a problem. In this case, it was a problem with the audio. It had a MOS score of 2.1. And a MOS score is just it's a super metric that combines a lot of different measurements into it. When audio and video first came on board, and I think this was actually from the telecom days, it was a way that we could figure out, how well our calls were performing. Let's see if we can find a call that did have a low score here. Looks like there's a peer-to-peer call. We do peer-to-peer calls as well as meetings. Peer-to-peer is just, a single person calling another call. Go ahead and expand that out. One of the neat things that we do is we can view these calls on the map. We had 2 different participants in it. We had Jason Davis, and he's calling Paul. Jason's in Fort Worth, Paul's in Austin. We can see the connection there. Kind of interesting to see. Let's go back to the call and see what else we can find out about it. We can see when it started, when it stopped. And this score here, that's kind of troubling. Looks like it had to do with some audio issues. Dive into it a little bit deeper. This is the overview of the call, and sure enough, it did have a mid-call failure, so it didn't exit gracefully. Something forced the call to fail. And the start time was 12:54 p.m. And this will come in, knowing this time will come in handy in just a second here. We can see the devices that they came from. Looks like Paul has a Windows device. We can see their audio devices that they have, and then their overall score on that. Then down below we have widgets, graphs that tell us more about it. Overall, it looks like Paul had a pretty good experience, but Jason here towards the very end, his MOS score dropped down to 1.0. The throughput seemed pretty good throughout the call. Packets in, we're not gathering any data here at the very end, so something was going on there. So this is a call that we do know has an issue, and which is good. But what we really want to do is find out, why this occurred.